Good morning, good afternoon. This is Monica Paolini from Sense of Healy, and today I have the pleasure to talk to Nebu Mathai, the Executive Vice President of Product Engineering at Cognitive Systems. And today what we're talking about is the location information and motion information in the home. And Nebu, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Monica. I'm very excited to speak about our product and technology.
Absolutely. And when you think about, location, motion is something so basic and fundamental. And so let's talk about how is it used? How is this information captured and used in our smart homes? So our smart homes, we're doing more and more things, and knowing where things are and what they're doing, it's really important, isn't it?
Absolutely. If you look at it, the vision of a smart home, the futuristic vision of a smart home, it's a very compelling vision, right? Of having a home that could react autonomously to the human actors that are within the home. However, although there's a proliferation of great IoT and smart home technologies, both sensors and actuators, the unfortunate reality is still that there is no proper cognitive link between the sensing and the actuation. So the smartness of smart homes currently is quite limited.
And so how are you guys going to fix that problem?
Well, through Wi-Fi motion. Our company, Cognitive Systems, if you look at it, is essentially synonymous with Wi-Fi motion. We invented this idea, this space. We developed a lot of the fundamental intellectual property for it. We fenced in that intellectual property with upwards of 30 or more granted patents, as well as around 120 or more patents in the pipeline. And these are fundamental enabling patents, which concern how to do Wi-Fi motion properly, robustly, accurately, and so forth. Beyond that, ideas, inventions, they're all great, but what's better is product. We are the only company to have brought a Wi-Fi motion product to the market. And we're continuing that leadership now with bringing a new generation of Wi-Fi motion products to the market to run on third-party chipsets, third-party Wi-Fi chipsets. So to answer your question, what are we doing to address this space? This space will be enabled by Wi-Fi mesh networks providing robust and ubiquitous Wi-Fi coverage through the house. That will enable IoT sensors to properly connect to the internet and have what they need. But the missing item, context, actionable intelligence, that's where we come in. We will have our product in Wi-Fi mesh networks and other types of networking hardware, which will be able to provide the needed context to enable the smart home without requiring the user to go and buy and install new sensors. So the very technology the user uses to create the Wi-Fi infrastructure in their home for the value-add applications they do, though that hardware will run our value amplifying feature of Wi-Fi motion.
Okay, so let's step backwards for a minute. So we use Wi-Fi for connectivity, basically, right? So when you talk about using Wi-Fi for location, how do you do this? How does that work?
So let's start from the point you said. We use Wi-Fi for communications, right? To do what we need to do over the home from a communications perspective. In order for Wi-Fi hardware to properly communicate or to better communicate, what it needs to do is, or what it does do is it senses the channel, which is the environment that exists between two Wi-Fi devices, right? Let's say your access point and a client device, your laptop or a smart camera or so forth. The sensing of the environment is very useful because that allows the Wi-Fi chipsets to make the proper decisions on how the data is conveyed from sender to receiver and vice versa. Now, Wi-Fi motion comes in by using that very knowledge and processing it in a different way to extract actionable intelligence as to, is motion happening in that area? So The channel response is basically the cumulative effect of all objects, reflectors, absorbers, and so forth in an area between a transmitter and a receiver. A human being is an object. We put intelligence that processes the data that Wi-Fi chipsets already provide as a matter of course to improve their communications. We use that information, process it in very sophisticated ways, and extract intelligence as to, did a human move in that area?
Absolutely. This is really important information. And currently, if I want to know what goes on into my home, I have to get a camera or I have to get a sensor. So this is fundamentally different because you're using something that it's already there. I mean, most homes have Wi-Fi, or smart homes do have Wi-Fi. So you're basically using a resource that it's already being used for other purposes. So you don't have to buy any equipment.
Right.
That.
Exactly. And that is kind of the Achilles heel of the smart home, because the smart home has all these, has great actuators and action producing devices. And it does have sensors. Like you mentioned, they do have motion sensors that are based on the classical PIR, passive infrared, or the more modern computer vision based cameras. However, those suffer from a couple of aspects. One, it requires a new deployment. You must deploy new sensors. Number two, those sensors are based on visible light or types of light that are more straight line traveling than radio frequency. So because of that, the effect of that is cameras and infrared sensors are sectorized. They will only cover areas that they can see. And of course, there's a privacy aspect to cameras too that is an issue, right? Because of the sectorization of the camera, if you really wanted to get proper context throughout a house, you would have to install multiple cameras to cover all the threat zones. And that has privacy implications. People may not be that happy with ubiquitous visual coverage of their house.
Yeah.
So, but the real problem fundamentally, I mean, those are all problems, but the basic problem is this. Does a user really want to go and install and instrument their house with these sensors just to make their action producing devices useful? I don't think so. I think the reason why smart home has not taken off as great as the projections is because there is no context. There is no painless way to get context sensing of a home.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that here we should talk about what is context as opposed to just motion. Because, a camera would detect motion from point A to point B. But context is it's richer than that. And it's the context that you need in order to drive applications, right? So how do you define context? And what is that context adds to the just point A to point B motion?
Okay, so from a very fundamental level, the sensing algorithms that we put on Wi-Fi devices extracts information as to whether motion is happening. Now that motion can happen through a variety of reasons, including reasons that we don't really want to react to, pets, mechanical motion, and so forth, and motion that is actionable, the motion of a human being. The next thing, of course, is where that motion is occurring. So if you take those two together, robust identification of actionable motion events, motion events that are 100% bona fide due to a human being moving in that area, and where that actionable motion event has occurred, that composite is motion context. That is the context that you could integrate with other smart home devices in order to create actions that are useful. There's a lot of smart home devices that turn on and off appliances and so forth. There's new and interesting appliances themselves that could turn on and off, that if they could turn on and off based on an intelligent context feedback signal that they got, it would amplify their usefulness. So basically, fundamentally, what is motion context? It's zero false alarm, positive identification of actionable motion and where that motion has occurred within the home.
Absolutely. So once you have that context, how is that going to be used by applications? So what is the sort of like the overall ecosystem is going to work?
Yeah. So you mentioned the very key word ecosystem, and ecosystem is critical, right? There's a variety of ecosystems through which a technology like this could come to play. Very soon, very shortly, you'll start to see announcements about our ecosystem partners. These are some very forward-thinking companies who are trying to make the smart home and smart security vision a reality. And our technology is a crucial element of that plan. So let's look at two critical ecosystems: smart security. So we have security systems, classical security systems that are based on existing technologies, whether vision or PIR sensors. Their ability to provide privacy respecting actionable intelligence is relatively low, with low cost, right? I mean, certainly you could spend a great deal of cost, instrument your house to the nines, and then get the context you need, but it would be very heavy, both computationally and expense-wise. So smart security context is very simply, does the security monitoring company, does the smart home monitoring company have the zero false alarm rate certified actionable intelligence to trigger an alarm, to trigger a security response? So that's a very straightforward but very hard to achieve contextual action. Now, for that, we provide an end-to-end solid solution, right? We have everything from the motion sensing system that can run on the most advanced Wi-Fi mesh networking and most prevalent Wi-Fi mesh networking hardware solutions out there, right through to the algorithms, of course, right? That's where we've broken more ground than anyone in this area by developing the fundamental algorithms to enable this. And then finally, to the mobile app and to the motion notification apparatus that can provide to the monitoring company or to a DIY security installer the actionable intelligence that he needs or she needs to know whether to trigger an action, which is a motion notification, a robust motion notification.
Absolutely. Now let's take it back. So we look at what happens from the application point of view. But what if I want to have or a Wi-Fi at home at my place, and I have so many old devices, access points? Okay, I don't have to buy a camera, but do I need to buy something else?
So the critical item of our technology is we work with a series of chipset partners. They're advertised on our website, Qualcomm, Marvell, Cypress, and others. These chipset partners are the ones who are bringing to the market the most forward-thinking, the most high-performance mesh networking solutions, right? And there's a variety of platform manufacturers who build with these chipsets, and we are in all of these chipsets. Or a lot of the most high impact, the most important chipsets. So you will need an Aura-enabled Wi-Fi motion, an Aura-enabled mesh Wi-Fi solution. There's a lot of them out there, and we work with all the important ones. But after that, you don't need us. You do not need Aura in anything else. So you do not need Aura in your IoT sensors. You don't need Aura in your cell phone or in your mobile devices or your laptops. However, Aura will, because they are on the Wi-Fi access points and mesh access points, will be able to extract actionable intelligence from the communications links that get produced by legacy devices or existing devices that do not use Aura. That's why we're so excited about Aura, and that's why we spend so much expended so much resource in patenting the fundamental IPs, the IP behind this, because we believe very strongly that this is an immense market that is not tied to us being in all the actors of the Wi-Fi network in the home. We can exploit Wi-Fi devices that do not have our software on them.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you can basically use the free resource, so to say, to your benefit without having the user to just get the new doorbell ring, the new phones or anything, so they can just use with everything that they have, which I think is crucial to get to the adoption level that you need. So now let's talk about what's next with you guys. What should we expect from cognitive systems?
So what's next? There's a lot of interesting announcements that we're going to release very soon. I can't release too much here. However, I will say this: smart home is a great, compelling vision. With Wi-Fi motion is the technology that is going to be able to turn the smart home into a truly cognitive system. And Wi-Fi motion from cognitive systems being basically our invention, we are very aggressive in bringing this to the market. We have a lot of significant ecosystem partners who have vetted all the solutions out there and who have seen ours as being the disruptor, the one that has the highest level of performance, the one that has that is most economical in terms of its efficiency of implementation and so forth. So there will be a lot of interesting announcements on the ecosystem partner front, and we do look forward to bringing this to the market. We believe this is what consumers will see as being the final enabler of making the home a cognitive system.
Excellent. But thanks, Nebu, for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
And thank you all for listening in.